Hello, I'm Rosjke Hasseldine. I'm a mother-daughter relationship therapist. I've worked with thousands of mothers and daughters from many different countries and cultures over the last, 25 years. I'm the author of two books, The Mother-Daughter Puzzle and The Silent Female Scream. And I also created the training organization, Mother-Daughter Coaching International, where I teach fellow therapists and coaches how to work with mothers and daughters and certify as a mother-daughter coach. One of the overriding themes or beliefs or pieces of information that I have found over my lifetime of working with mothers and daughters is how powerful that relationship is. One of the exercises I do with my clients and also what I teach in my course. And by the way, if you would like to do this exercise yourself, either if you're a therapist or coach with your clients, or if you're a mother or daughter, the instructions for it are in my book, The Mother-Daughter Puzzle. It's called the Mother-Daughter History Mapping Exercise, where I map out what life was like or is like for the three key women in the generational family. So if I was mapping your mother-daughter history, you'd be the daughter, your mother, and your grandmother. And first of all, we map out what age you are, what age somebody died, education levels, careers, whether we're a stay-at-home mom, or what education and what career the mom, grandmother, and you as the daughter have. Also looking at what unfulfilled careers or dreams perhaps either you or your mother or your grandmother had, because that is key to understanding not only the mother-daughter dynamic, but also understanding what it means to be female. I absolutely believe that we have the world we have today because many of our mothers and our grandmothers were not allowed to be who they wanted to be. So how many politicians, scientists, writers, inventors were never realized because of the sexism and the patriarchy in our mothers and grandmothers' life, and how that is impacting our life today, not just the mother-daughter relationship, how it's helped create the world we have today. So once we've done all that, we then turn to the emotional reality that our grandmother and our mother and that we as daughters now live in. Were women's needs heard, or was there a complete silence about what women need? Were women emotionally supported, or were women expected to be supportive of others, like what I call about the cultural female service? Women were supposed to be selfless caregivers and sacrifice their own desires and needs and take care of the family. So when we unpack that emotional reality in terms of how much women's voices were heard, whether women were neglected, we can see women's generational experience with patriarchy and sexism, the violence that women experience generationally. When I map my mother-daughter history, I can see not just the impact of violence and of war, but that selfless sacrifice for everybody else and putting yourself last and never voicing what you need. The impact that had on my grandmother, on my mother, on the relationship they had with each other, and my relationship with my mom. And how I've spent my life learning to not just know what I need, but to feel entitled to have needs as a woman and as a person. So when we understand all this, firstly, it's like, in a sense, it helps mothers and daughters understand, and women to understand that actually I'm not alone, that what's been going on, not only in our mother-daughter relationship, but in our lives and the choices we make, is a reflection of the society and the culture that we live in. So I want to also mention the term mother wound. That seems to be very popular today. You can see it in forums, online. It's also, popular within the therapy world. And I have a problem with it, even though it understands the disempowering beliefs and messages that daughters inherit from mum, and we do, because mothers cannot teach us what they were never taught to pass on or to have for themselves. If a mother was not taught to claim her own voice, she cannot teach this to her daughter. And that's the problem I have with the term mother wound. Who is wounding? It gives the impression that mother is wounding, when in fact, actually, it's patriarchy and sexism that's wounding. It's the patriarchy that silences the mother's voice, which then doesn't give her the language she needs, not only to speak her own voice, but to teach her daughter to have her own voice. So we have to be very careful the terms that we use, and how that actually can feed into mother blaming and actually, in a sense, stop and hinder our understanding of our generational experience with patriarchy and sexism. So coming back to how powerful mothers and daughters are, I see on a weekly basis, working with my clients and teaching students, how when we unpack women's generational experience with sexism and the emotional reality that women are expected to live in, particularly the selflessness, the sacrifice, the self-effacing behavior that patriarchy is expected for women for generations, and the emotional impact on that, and the mother-daughter relationship impact, in fact, the impact on all our relationships. It gives women not just the tools, but the entitlement to claim their voice and their rights and to facilitate generational change. What I tell every single student that comes to my course to learn how to be a certified mother-daughter coach is that you cannot work with mothers and daughters and not facilitate generational change. Working with mothers and daughters is about creating a new normal for not just the mother-daughter, but for the daughters to come. It is powerful work because it's a powerful relationship. And I have a sneaking suspicion is that this is the reason why it's often marginalized and not mentioned, and not particularly in therapy training courses, because it has the power to challenge the norms that patriarchy expects us to behave by and to believe. Thanks for listening. If you'd like more information, if you're a therapist and coach and you'd like more information about the training, visit motherdaughtercoach.com. If you need a mother-daughter therapist, again, go to motherdaughtercoach.com, find a coach where my graduates are listed. Remember, mothers and daughters are powerful.